Hey guys, ScannerDanner here. Today we're working on a 2006 Chevy Impala. Complaint is a rich exhaust fault code, P0172, I believe, maybe 175. Let's get on the scan tool, look at the code, some freeze frame data, see where we're going. Alright, I already have the vehicle identified, and you see the two codes we're setting, System Rich 172. This number up here that says 54, that is not how many codes are in this, that is how many tips are for this code. Sorry for the glare on the screen here. See, it says DTC info. There's 27 here and 27 here. Add those two together, you get 54. So it's not 54 codes. I'm learning this tool. But our failure records for the System 2 Rich code, I have not configured this. This is in Celsius and KPA numbers that I am not all that familiar with. How do I change that? One complaint about this particular tool is it's a little bit slow between screens. Alright, so 29 mile per hour, 189 degrees, so we're warmed up pretty much. There's your long-term fuel trim of minus 24%. 33% throttle opening. So we're driving this almost 5,000 hertz on the MAF. And this is the one I don't like right here. Fuel alcohol content, 59%. When I ID'd this vehicle, this is a flex fuel vehicle. Let's see if I can go back to that and show you guys. The 2006 Chevy Impala LT. And it's this one, VIN K. Naturally aspirated flex. Okay? VIN K is my engine. And then it's kind of a weird data display. Engine electrical, cooling, and engine controls. I was in engine controls. Let's go to engine electrical real quick. Okay, so long term right now is minus 19. Now, car's not running. Short term's at 0. And this alcohol content, I mentioned this is the one I'm concerned about. This is showing me 59% alcohol. So this is a flex fuel engine, as I just showed you. Start the car. There's another way you can tell flex fuel, and that's go back to the fuel door and open it. Sticker on the inside, as you can see here. This is an E85 vehicle. And what happens when the system miscalculates the alcohol percentage is it's going to add more fuel. So if the computer thinks there's 59% alcohol and there's not, then the fuel curve is based off of that much alcohol. And if it's straight gasoline with under 10%, which our standard gasoline is here, less than 10% alcohol, what's going to happen is the issued pulse width command is going to be too much, and then fuel trim is going to correct and go negative. So my concern right off the bat with this car is that this is not E85 fuel. And really, there's ways to determine that. We could do a fuel sample. If I had a graduated container, I could put gasoline and then a little bit of water in it, and the water absorbs the alcohol, and you can determine your alcohol content that way. 10% water and 90% gasoline. Then you shake it up, and then you look at the amount of water that increases because the water absorbs the alcohol. It's something like that. So that's one method. Can't do that. Do not have a graduated container. The other one is we're just going to call the customer and ask them if they've been using E85. If they have been using E85 and we have the 59% alcohol and that's accurate, then I need to attack this fuel trim problem. Why does this look like it's not live data? Yeah, it's live. Okay, there we go. It was frozen there for a minute. That was weird. All right, so total trim, add those together, we're about minus 30%. But another thing I could do is I could clear this fuel alcohol content and see if we get an improvement on our fuel trim. I believe this one is like the case study I did on my premium channel on a Chevy truck that had the same issue, and the fix was to reset the E85 or the alcohol content. My concern with doing that, if this actually has alcohol in the tank and I clear it, it's going to go back to the full gasoline mode, and then what's going to happen is we're going to have the opposite, and I'm going to have messed up fuel trim numbers that I'm not going to be able to correct. So waiting on a call back. We don't have very many E85 stations here, so I doubt that they're using alcohol, the E85 in this car. So let me wait till we hear back from the customer and then we'll proceed. Okay, in case I wasn't clear on that, let me restate that again. Our scan tool is showing us 59% alcohol in this. So it takes more volume of alcohol to deliver the same amount of power as gasoline. So when you have more alcohol, the computer is going to compensate, and it's going to open the injector pulse wider, deliver more fuel under all circumstances. If this does not have E85 in it, what's happening is we're issuing a command that is assuming that it is there, and being it is not, we're getting a lot more than what we should be. I hope that's making sense. So the reason our trim numbers are negative is I believe we have straight gasoline in here, the less than 10% version, and the computer is issuing a pulse width command based on 59% alcohol. So I don't have a very accurate graduated container. Pete has a mason jar that has lines on it. We should be able to use it in particular because we're showing a huge amount of alcohol. We should be able to pull this alcohol out of the fuel using this graduated container. And this is the first time I've done this, so I'm sure I'll get some crap about it if I do it wrong. You guys will call me on it, but pretty sure this is right. Let's go do the test. All right, cool. We do have a Schrader valve we can adapt to, so that makes taking a fuel sample easy. The idea, I believe, I'm doing this right. You take, so we're gonna use this jar. I know it could be better, but we're gonna use this jar, and we're gonna use these 10 partitions here, right? So 10 to 0. And what I want to do is use 10%. It doesn't matter how much water I use. I don't think it matters. So why are we using 10? I guess for math purposes. Again, my subscribers will call me on that for sure. It would be easier to use that 2 line, wouldn't it? I should put a little bit of water back in there. Okay. Damn it. So the plan is this. I have no idea what I'm doing, number one. Number two is I don't really care about an accurate measurement here. All I'm going after is, do we have 59% alcohol? We should know right away. I'm just trying to get this exactly on that 2 number for me. That intake manifold is not exactly level.
I think as long as you're close and you're in range.
Yep. And it's settling just a hair below. So the next step then is let's put some gasoline in this. Tim, can I just have you cycle the key for me? Sure. Actually, you know what I could do? I could put this in a bi-directional mode and run the pump. Let's do that. It's under special tests. Fuel composition reset. That would be the one that's going to reset my alcohol content. Okay. Fuel pump relay. Yeah. Please wait. Typical of this tool, huh? Uh-huh. Tap here to view all data. I don't care about the data at all. I just want to enable my pump. Do I hear the pump running? Help if I put my pressure gauge on here. I wasn't going to, but in this case, yeah, there's no pressure there.
And we just still need the key on.
The key should be still on. I never shut it off unless maybe I did. Did I shut the key off? Oh yeah. Help to have the key on, wouldn't it? Let's do that again. Fuel pump relay. There we go. We are running. So we'll go to 10. Oh, we lost a little water there. It's only letting me run the pump in short cycles. That's okay. It's still letting me do it. So if anything, Tim, what we should have is less water than what we put in. The theory is the water absorbs the alcohol, and then you look at the level increase of the water is that's what we're doing. I want to get this up to 10 ounces. We started at 2 ounces of water. That'll work. Now apparently, you shake it up, let it settle. Again, this is not an exact science for us guys for this test. We just want to see how much alcohol is in this. It's definitely settled above 2, didn't it? But not much. It did work from a standpoint of two things. One, I lost a little bit of water when I first shot it in there, and our water line it was just below the mark. All right, so hopefully you guys are seeing that right now we are just above the 2 ounce line. So what that means to us is there is a small amount of alcohol that was in this, because we did have a water increase, but there is certainly not 54% alcohol or 59% alcohol in this fuel. I'm saying that we are definitely less than 10%, which is our regular gasoline, and that means that this fuel calculation was incorrect. All right, so my alcohol in fuel test did work. We saw a rise in the water level, so very small amount, and it wasn't ideal, that container I was using, but it was enough to tell me that there is definitely not 59% alcohol in this. I would like to see what that would look like. What are the variables for that test? If there was actually that much alcohol, would I have to put more water in it to absorb it all? I don't know the variables to that. I apologize for that. But I think it was a legit test, and that tells me we're gonna reset this fuel trim. So before we do that, let's get some good before and after, or good before numbers, so after I clear it, and we'll see the result. Okay? Back to the scan tool. All right, so what I wanna do is data stream, fuel trim data. I only care about short-term and long-term trim. I don't really care about anything else. So let's just pull those two up. We can pull the fuel alcohol content up as well. And all right, we'll throw engine speed in there. Injector pulse might be fun. That I don't like. I just shut that off. I didn't want to turn it off. I wanted to make it a graph. There's your graphs. Need my long term back. Looks like about 2,000 RPM. Remember, we're running about 2 milliseconds. We should probably just do this at idle. The rest of this doesn't really matter. This is telling me the short term hasn't fully corrected for this issue either, or the long term hasn't corrected, being how negative short term was. So 2 milliseconds of fuel at around 2,100 RPM. A minus, what's my live number? Minus 23% is where I am long term right now. Let's let this idle. What causes this on this particular vehicle, there is no flex fuel sensor. There's no alcohol sensor. It's all done with an algorithm. So when you fill your tank, the computer's looking for X amount of tank level increase, and then when you first start your car after the fill, the computer starts analyzing fuel trim numbers to determine how much alcohol you put in the car, if any. And what messes up the calculation, from what I remember from the last case study I did, is short trips, and also it's aggravated by small amounts of fuel added to the tank. So if you put in, say, $5 or $10 worth of gas when you fill up, you can aggravate this situation. So I'll put some links, guys, in the description of this video for the one I did on a what was it, a Chevy. It wasn't a Tahoe, but it was one of those Suburban maybe that had this issue. The fix was to reset the fuel percentage, the alcohol percentage. All right, so we're still about 2 milliseconds, 2.1, minus 23%. All right, 59% alcohol. We're gonna clear this now, so let's do that. Let's go back to our special tests, and under our fuel system, our fuel composition reset is probably gonna make me turn the engine off. It says do not run this test with more than 15% alcohol in the tank. Right, that was my concern. Resetting this is if there was that much alcohol in this tank, if I reset this, I'm going to cause the opposite condition. We're going to have lean conditions, and it probably would be not good for the engine either. We're going to do it. Let's show it. Warning, loading live data while component is activated will temporarily suspend active control of the component. Recommended procedures to ensure component is off or inactive before continuing. I wanted to show the reset. It worked. Alright, so fuel alcohol content's now at 1. It was at 59. Let's exit out of here, go back to our fuel data. This thing is slow between the screens, but it is doing what I need it to do. Some of you guys are looking for a more inexpensive tool that can do a lot of the stuff that I do. This may be an option. Data stream. What would be nice is if it kept my previous customized data list. It did not. One of the things I like about my Varus, when I configure data lists and go back to it later, it'll hang on to it. Let's see how this does. And what we don't want to see is very positive fuel trim numbers. Once this goes into closed loop, that's what I want to see. Right off the bat, my short term is right where it needs to be. A simple fuel reset. So lesson here, guys, is do not put small amounts of fuel in these early Chevy flex fuel systems that use an algorithm and are not using a sensor to detect the alcohol content. Short trips and small amounts of fuel when you go to the gas station is what I remember reading last time I ran into this. But it's a no cost fix, guys. A 172 fault, system too rich. There is only one bank on this engine, only one upstream O2. Not a lot of change. Have to go back and look at the footage again. I remember it being 2 and above at idle. Let's do the 2000 RPM again. It was around 2100. Yeah, 1.8. 1.9. I think we were at 2 to 2.1 before. So there you go, man. Alcohol effects on fuel delivery. Another variable when it comes to flex fuel vehicles. I like these trims now. Idle looks great. Higher RPMs look great too. Alright guys, so that was fun. Next time I do the graduated container, I'll make sure it's not a mason jar. I gotta get me a graduated container so we can do that test more accurately. I look forward to your comments in the video below telling me what I did right or wrong with that test. I clearly fixed the vehicle by resetting the fuel trim, so that wasn't an issue. I did show a little bit of a rise in the water at the bottom, showing me some alcohol in the fuel, but not much. What else? Oh, the scan tool. You guys are probably wondering, wait, why is Danner using an OTC Encore? Well, to be honest with you, it was given to me. They sent it to me, and it's just the scan tool I picked up to try to use it and play around with it a little bit. I was happy that I was able to do the bi-directional test that I needed for this car. So from a standpoint of fixing this car, tool gets a thumbs up. From a speed standpoint and waiting between screens, I've been disappointed with this tool in the past, but I have always said a good bi-directional scan tool you're going to pay at least $1,000 for, and this tool's right in that price range, $1,000 to $1,400, somewhere in that range. So might be worth some of you guys looking at it. I'll reserve judgment on the tool until I use it more, but if you're interested, you'll find the link in the description of this video for this OTC Encore, as well as any of the other tools I used. I want to remind you guys again, visit my website, ScannerDanner.com. I have a forum over there where we can answer your automotive questions. Of course, you can post them right here in the description of this video as well. Also, you'll find my textbook I've written. It's a field manual for troubleshooting. That's available on my website, as well as information on ScannerDanner Premium, which is my online class, where I will invite you into my classroom at Rosedale Technical College, and I can teach you to be a diagnostic technician. So I look forward to seeing you guys over there. Again, that's where that case study I mentioned with the Chevy Suburban with the same issue, you'll find links for those videos in the description of this video. That's on my premium channel. There's a 14-day free trial, so you guys can check out everything that's there before you make a commitment. I really appreciate you guys. Whether you subscribe on that paid channel or not is not important. I'm just glad that you're here. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.